A guerrilla rebellion tore through the African jungle, 600-pound beasts charging in an 80-mile-per-hour storm, their 160-decibel roars shattering the night louder than thunder. Humans, clutching 30-caliber rifles, teetered on annihilation's edge, and one man, Tarzan, 6'3", forged by apes, scarred by a life of battles, stood as the fragile bridge between life and death. Why risk his soul to mediate between 2-inch claws and traitors' bullets? What drove him into a dark jungle where lightning blazed 70 yards off, 10-foot floodwaters surged, and betrayal lurked in every shadow? This saga of courage, trust, and sacrifice will seize every American, from Montana Rangers to California parents, pulling you into a heart-pounding clash where loyalty hangs by a thread. Picture facing a 500-pound gorilla, its eyes burning 20 feet away, or a traitor's knife glinting 10 feet behind. Would you unite or flee? Smash that subscribe button, drop your city, Denver, Chicago, or beyond, in the comments, and brace for a tale that'll carve itself into your soul. Dive into the wild, feel the jungle's wrath, and stand with Tarzan now. The African rainforest, a 1,500-square-mile labyrinth of 100-foot mahogany colossi and 30-foot vines, lay entombed in a night blacker than a leopard's shadow. A storm, born of some primal deity's rage, unleashed 80-pio winds that wrenched 50-foot palms into tortured arcs, their fronds snapping like bones, the cracks echoing like rifle shots through the gale. Rain plummeted in 8-inch torrents, churning the jungle floor into an 8-inch deep quagmire of mud, tangled roots, and splintered branches, each step a battle against suction, slime, and despair. Lightning, jagged as a shattered spear, carved the sky every 4 seconds, its blinding white pulses casting the chaos in stark relief before plunging it back into an abyss of shadow. Thunder roared, a 150-decibel boom that shuddered through the 200-foot canopy, its reverberations clashing with the primal bellows of a guerrilla clan, their rebellion a living pulse woven into the storm's merciless heart. Their 160-decibel roars a force that rattled bones and souls alike. In a 60-foot clearing, the crucible of man versus beast burned at its fiercest, a battleground where trust and treachery collided like lightning striking earth. On one side, a human camp, 200 feet wide, its 12 tents shredded, 5-foot barricades toppled, sheltered 15 researchers and loggers, their 30-caliber rifles glinting in lightning's flash, barrels trembling in rain-soaked hands. Dr. Clara Hayes, a 35-year-old American biologist, stood at their forefront, her 5'8" frame unyielding, blonde hair plastered to her face, eyes sharp with resolve despite the chaos, her khaki coat torn from a 3-inch thorn snag. Her life's work, studying the jungle's heart, had led her here, 3,000 miles from her Oregon childhood, where her father, a forest ranger, taught her to track deer in 4-foot snow. On the other side, a clan of 35 guerrillas, led by Korgal, a 600-pound silverback with a 7-inch scar across his chest from a poacher's spear, surged from the jungle's edge, their 500-pound bodies crashing through 12-foot ferns, their roars shaking the earth like a quake. The air reeked of wet fur, gunpowder, mud, and fear, a volatile brew that threatened to erupt into slaughter. Tarzan stood at the clearing's heart, a solitary sentinel between two worlds, his 6'3", 220-pound frame a living map of scars, leopard claws across his chest, a crocodile's bite on his thigh, a hyena's tear on his shoulder, a poacher's bullet graze on his ribs, etched in 30 years raised by apes. His black hair, shoulder-length, whipped in the gale, his loincloth sodden, rain streaming off his bronzed skin like rivers down a canyon. He gripped a 6-foot spear, ironwood, flint-tipped, honed to a razor's edge, its balance an extension of his will. The jungle was his lifeblood, its rhythms his heartbeat, every rustle a language he'd learned before words. From the 5-inch beetles scuttling 10 feet below to the 15-foot pythons coiling 50 feet above. 5 hours earlier, he'd sensed the rebellion's spark. Poachers killing a young gorilla, loggers felling 50-foot trees 1 mile away, Korgil's clan raiding the camp in vengeance, toppling a 20-foot watchtower. Now, in this 60-foot arena, he was the mediator, risking all to forge peace where betrayal lurked, his stand a thread between life and death. The gorillas charged, 7 500-pound males leading, their 2-inch claws gleaming like obsidian, eyes ablaze with rage, their 160-decibel roars, a physical force that vibrated the 8-inch mud. Korgil, 25 feet ahead, pounded his chest, the sound a 150-decibel drum, sending 6-foot mud splashes, his 600-pound frame a wall of fury. The humans raised rifles, their barrels shaking, Clara urging restraint, her hand raised 12 feet from the line, her voice lost in the storm. A logger, 42, with a 6-inch scar on his cheek from a saw blade, fired, the .30 caliber bullet grazing a gorilla's shoulder, blood spraying 4 feet. The 500-pound beast staggering but charging on, its roar escalating to 165 decibels. Tarzan leapt 18 feet, landing 12 feet from Korgil, his spear raised not to strike but to signal, his dark eyes locking with the silverbacks. A plea for pause forged in years of shared hunts, when they'd felled a 400-pound antelope at 20. Korgil hesitated, his massive frame tensing, breath steaming in the 8-inch rain, his trust in Tarzan a fragile thread. Lightning flashed, revealing a traitor among the humans. Jonas, a 30-year-old logger, his 6-inch knife hidden in his belt, eyes darting like a cornered beast. Tarzan had seen him pass poacher maps under a 5-foot tent flap, his greed for ivory fueling the rebellion, his whispers poisoning the camp's trust. Jonas raised his rifle 15 feet from Clara, aiming not at the gorillas but at her, his intent to silence her conservation pleas and claim the land for profit. Tarzan sprinted 15 feet, his spear arcing like a comet, knocking the rifle 6 feet away, the shot firing skyward, a 130-decibel crack swallowed by thunder. Jonas lunged, his knife slashing, a 3-inch gash opening Tarzan's forearm, blood mixing with rain, pain flaring like a spark. Tarzan twisted, his fist cracking Jonas's jaw, the traitor collapsing 8 feet back, mud swallowing his 6-foot frame, his knife sinking into the 8-inch quagmire. The gorillas surged, a 500-pound male leaping 12 feet, its 2-inch claws slashing Tarzan's thigh, a 4-inch gash burning like fire, blood streaming down his leg. He rolled 10 feet, dodging a second gorilla's 15-foot charge, its fists pounding the ground, a 6-foot crater forming, mud splashing 8 feet high. Clara stepped forward, 8 feet from the line, her hand outstretched, a gesture of peace, her Oregon roots steadying her as she recalled her father calming a 300-pound bear at 12. Another logger fired, the bullet grazing a gorilla's flank, blood flowing 5 feet, its 160-decibel roar shaking the 60-foot clearing. Tarzan swung 25 feet up a 35-foot vine, the gorilla's roars vibrating his bones, their fury a chorus that drowned the storm's howl. He dropped 12 feet, landing 10 feet from Korgil, his spear raised, signaling peace, his eyes pleading for trust. Memories of Kala, his ape mother, torn apart at 15 by a rival troop, flooding back, her warmth the root of his mediation. A 60-foot mahogany, struck by lightning 80 yards off, crashed 20 feet away, its 15-inch trunk splintering, pinning a 500-pound gorilla, its roar fading to a 110-decibel whimper, blood pooling in the mud. The humans froze, rifles lowering, Clara advancing 5 feet, her eyes meeting Corgil's, a flicker of understanding. Tarzan leaped 15 feet, landing between her and the silverback, his 220 pounds a shield, his spear lowered, a gesture of unity. A third gorilla, 520 pounds, lunged, its 2-inch claws grazing Tarzan's ribs, a 3-inch cut bleeding freely, pain searing like a blade. He staggered, 4 feet, but held firm, his eyes locked on Corgil, another memory surging. Kerchak, his ape brother, falling to a hunter's spear at 18, Tarzan's fists pounding the earth, vowing to protect both worlds. A childhood ritual flashed. At 10, Kayla teaching him to drum on a 5-foot log, a signal of peace among apes, now mirrored in his stand. A fourth gorilla, 510 pounds, charged, its 2-inch claws slashing Tarzan's back, a 5-inch gash burning like venom, blood soaking his loincloth. He spun, his spear tapping its shoulder, not piercing, a signal to halt. The gorilla pausing, 3 feet away, breath hot. A fifth, 530 pounds, leaped from 20 feet, its 160-decibel roar a physical force, its claws raking air. Tarzan dodged, leaping 10 feet to a 6-foot ledge, the clearing's edge dropping 25 feet to a 50-foot cliff, its base a 10-foot flood roaring like a lion. The fifth gorilla followed, its 530-pound frame lunging, forcing Tarzan to swing 20 feet across a 40-foot gap, the vine snapping mid-air, dropping him 12 feet to a 5-inch branch, his 220 pounds straining the wood, a 2-inch cut on his leg from a jagged knot. A sixth gorilla, 500 pounds, charged, its 2-inch claws slashing Tarzan's shoulder, a 4-inch gash pulsing, pain like a wildfire. He hurled a 8-pound rock, cracking its skull, sending it reeling 10 feet, blood streaming. A seventh, 515 pounds, surged from the shadows, its 165-decibel roar shaking the canopy, its claws bared. Tarzan leaped 15 feet to a 7-foot branch, the sixth gorilla's claws grazing his calf, a 3-inch cut bleeding freely. A 30-foot mudslide, 200 yards right, roared like a landslide, forcing a 40-foot detour earlier, its echo haunting the clash. A 5-foot crevasse opened 10 feet away, mud swallowing a 4-inch rifle, the humans stepping back, 5 feet, rifles lowering. Jonas stirred, 12 feet back, his 6-inch knife retrieved, lunging at Tarzan. Tarzan spun, his fist cracking Jonas's wrist, the knife flying 8 feet, the traitor collapsing, mud burying his betrayal. A human fired, the bullet striking a 6-inch branch above Corgil, splinters raining, the silverback charging 12 feet. Tarzan leaped 10 feet, his spear tapping Corgil's chest, not piercing, a signal to stop. The gorilla halting, 2 feet away, breath steaming, eyes searching Tarzan's, trust flickering like a flame in the gale. Clara stepped 4 feet closer, her hand mimicking Tarzan's peace gesture, her eyes locked on Corgil, a bridge forming. The human's rifles dropped, 3 feet back, Clara's resolve a beacon, her nod to Tarzan a pact of purpose. The storm raged, 8-inch rain blinding, 10-foot floodwaters surging 50 yards off. But Tarzan stood, bloodied, his 5-inch gashes pulsing, his 220 pounds unyielding. He raised his spear, not as a weapon but a bridge. 12 feet from Corgil, 12 feet from Clara, the 60-foot clearing a crucible of trust. The gorilla's roars softened, 120-decibel rumbles, their 500-pound frames retreating 8 feet, Corgil's eyes softening. The humans stepped back, 5 feet, rifles at their sides. Clara's gesture echoing Tarzan's drum ritual, a signal of peace. Lightning flashed, the 60-foot clearing a fragile truce. Tarzan's scars a testament to his stand. His heart the jungle's pulse, a mediator defying death to unite man and beast. Tarzan's stand in that stormy jungle was no mere fight. It was a bridge forged in blood, trust, and sacrifice, spanning the chasm between man and beast. Facing 7 500-pound gorillas and a traitor's 6-inch knife in an 80-off tempest, he risked all to mediate, a beacon for every American, from Wyoming conservationists to Texas families. Clara's courage, standing 4 feet from 2-inch claws, proves unity thrives in chaos's grip, a lesson for workers, parents, and dreamers in Ohio, California, or beyond. Tarzan's scars, carved by Kayla's loss at 15 and Kerchak's fall at 18, echo pioneers negotiating with native tribes, showing trust is earned through pain, not given. The gorilla's 160-decibel roars, a jungle SOS, mirror amber alerts, or Yellowstone's cry to protect, urging us to hear nature's pleas, forests, rivers, wildlife in peril. This saga, bold as a Sierra Nevada peak, pushes U.S. viewers aged 25 to 70 to stand when worlds collide, to mediate with empathy, not force, whether in boardrooms, communities, or wilderness. Trust isn't fear's absence. It's standing in a 60-foot clearing, gashed and unbowed, to save both man and beast. Here's to teaching our children to listen, to nature, to others, training our hearts to unite divides, and being the hero who bridges worlds, as Tarzan was in that dark, rain-soaked night. His spear a symbol of peace. If Tarzan's stand between 600-pound gorillas and human rifles in an 80-mile storm set your heart ablaze, slam that like button to fuel more epic sagas. Subscribe and ring the bell for daily adventures, crafted for Americans craving heart and grit, from Alaska's frozen trails to Florida's sunlit coasts. Share this with your hiking club, PTA, Audubon Society, or ranger crew. Spread the call to bridge divides and protect our wilds, just as Tarzan did. Comment below. Where are you watching? Phoenix, Boise, or New York? Ever faced a moment where trust turned chaos to peace? Your story could spark millions, like 7 million X posts cheering a legend's stand. Check our latest video on a wolfpack rescue, popping up now, for more heart-pounding thrills that echo Tarzan's courage. For exclusive Tarzan lore, jungle sketches, or conservation tips, join our Patreon, link in the description. Every like, share, or comment builds a tribe of bold souls, roaring louder than 160-decibel gorilla cries, drowning out the storm's howl. Tarzan united man and beast in a 60-foot clearing. Let's unite for nature, from redwoods to coral reefs, for our kids and their future. Engage now. Tell us your city, your time, Hanoi at 7 p.m. or Denver at dawn, and join us tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern for another saga you'll never forget. Be the mediator, the Tarzan in your world, and let's forge peace together.